Afghanistan had been a relatively coherent state with a Pashtun ruler since Ahmed Shah Durrani was declared Afghanistan's Amir by his fellow Pashtuns in 1747. Although descended from two generations of Afghan rulers, the Iron Amir was placed on the throne by the British in 1880, at the conclusion of the Second Anglo-Afghan War. The resulting stain on his legitimacy meant that his throne was secure only as long as he defended it by force. He was quoted as saying that he ruled with an iron hand because he ruled an iron people. This was a lesson that his successors perhaps did not learn. Habibullah had designated his brother Nasrullah as his successor over his own three sons. Nasrullah, who commanded the Afghan army and presided over the state council, and Habibullah's eldest son, Inyatullah, were both present in the hunting camp when he was killed. In accordance with the late ruler's wishes, Nasrullah declared himself the Amir. Inyatullah, who as the eldest son also had a claim to the throne, immediately gave Nasrullah support. Just as Habibullah had become Amir without conflict after his father's death, it seemed, at first, that succession would again be without bloodshed. But in the capital there was intrigue. Habibullah's third son, Amanullah, was the governor of Kabul province. He claimed that he should ascend to the throne by right of being the eldest son of Habibullah's first wife, Ulia Hazrat. Succession was muddied by the fact that Habibullah had children from the 4 wives allowed to him under Islam, as well as 10 other women who occupied a lesser position in court. Ulia Hazrat was Pashtun, from the Loinab sub-tribe of the Barakzai, the same tribal confederacy as the Amir himself, while Inyatullah's mother was not. Though Nasrullah commanded the Afghan army, it was based in Kabul, and he had no means to quickly give it orders. Amanullah had control of the treasury, and the ear of a number of the Amir's advisers. Counseled by his mother, Amanullah called the senior officers of the army together, along with the members of the Council of Notables. These were the largely hereditary elite who formed the Amir's court, from the foremost families within the capital. Amanullah, only 27 years old, was well known as a reform-minded and energetic member of the royal family. There were several factions at court, all with different ideas of how Afghanistan should be run, though none were so broad-minded as to consider any system other than autocracy. Habibullah himself had been staunchly pro-British, and saw even small attempts at modernization purely as a means to increase his own wealth and prestige. He was content with the political arrangement made by his father, whereby Afghanistan was permitted to have diplomatic relations only with the British Empire. This relationship was managed through the Viceroy of India. In exchange, the British paid Habibullah a large stipend, allowed him to purchase vast quantities of arms and ammunition at cost, and promised to come to his aid should he be attacked. Nasrullah was seen as leading a conservative, pro-British faction within the court that largely agreed with the direction taken by Habibullah. Nasrullah was also closely allied with the religious leaders of the country, who were Sufi clerics drawn from 2 major families, the Gayani and Mojaddedi. Although Afghanistan is now associated with religious extremism in the minds of many, Sufism is a moderate, mystical strain within Islam that emphasizes personal and direct contact with God, rather than strict regulation of outward behavior. Sufism was so widespread in Afghanistan that it was known as the Land of the Saints for the number of its Sufi shrines. Although Nasrullah agreed with Habibullah's acceptance of his status as a client king installed by the British, it did not sit well with everyone in the Amir's court. Amanullah was a member of an opposing nationalist pro-Turkish faction, although he was not its leader. That role was filled by his father-in-law, Mahmud Tarzai, whose daughter Soraya he had married in 1914. Tarzai's family had been exiled by the Iron Amir, and he had grown up outside of Afghanistan. His family first fled to India and then to Turkey, before settling in Damascus, then part of the Ottoman Empire. Tarzai eventually became a well-educated Ottoman bureaucrat.